everybody, and welcome to the Absolutely Pickled Podcast.
Do you want me to speak now? You're doing so well.
I know.
I was just letting you have the floor. Welcome to the Absolutely Pickled Podcast, where one of us knows exactly what's going on.
And I don't. But I'm Pen.
And I'm Lee, and we are delighted to bring you this wonderful podcast. I'm trying not to use the word absolutely because it's in our name, but whatever. We're absolutely delighted to bring you this absolutely wonderful podcast called Absolutely Pickled.
That's right. And for those that don't know, because obviously people know you, Lee, they don't know me, but Lee, everybody, is a professional pickleball player, two-time MVP of MLP, and fan favourite.
Also, dead body number 3 in a Law and Order episode.
What?
I may have made that up.
Oh, yeah, you're making that up. Anyway, but I, on the other hand, garden variety rec player, but I do have a qualification. I am a certified coach, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. But really what we're doing here is picking Lee's brains. And I basically, thought this podcast would be self-serving. So I just get to get all my pickleball questions answered. However, lovely to have you here. Lee's sporting an Absolutely Pickled shirt, as you can see. I've got mine on also. And if you go to the podcast, if you go to the website, absolutelypickled.com, you'll see a few sections and a few things we talk about. One of which, and what I would like to dive into right away, mate, is Where's Waldo, which is basically where the hell is Lee? So, Lee, mate, I know just recently you randomly went on a trip to China. Two questions. How did that come
Crazy
about? And how was it? And I've got more questions, but give us, how did that come about?
A random encounter. Like most of my things that happen, it's just a random encounter. And I was asked if I would like to help grow pickleball in China. They needed somebody with a personality, and everybody else was taken.
I was going to say, how did you get the gig? No, kidding.
Kidding. They were scraping the bottom of the barrel with me.
Not true. Not true.
And and it was one of those things where it's like, shouldn't I? And I'm like, why not? I honestly, any chance, and I've said this a million times, I love pickleball. I love to grow pickleball. It's changed my life in so many ways. And I like to see it impact people in positive ways as well. So any chance that I have to have a front seat at the growth of the sport, I'm going to jump at. And if I can help affect that, that's amazing. Here in the US, we're on the tidal wave of pickleball.
Definitely.
It's moved from its terrible twos to now it's maybe starting to get its baby teeth and moving into the 3-4-year-old stage of the game, where it's still growing, but it's not new. And then being able to, go to China and see the newness of it all was absolutely fascinating.
Amazing. So are they, because it's so new, are they as mad about pickleball yet, or getting there as we are in the US? I know we're evolved, but how popular is it? Yeah,
so I had no idea what to expect, and I went with Yui and Yuki. So Yuki, Full Send Pickleball, right? There's a company, Chinese-Canadian company out of Canada. Also, it's also a company in China, Fuxing Pickleball. Same thing, Full Send. And I had no idea what to expect. And Yuki, for the last 18 months, has been really promoting pickleball, in China and really exposing China to pickleball over here in Canada and the US. And but I had no idea what to expect. And we went there and we did some referee trainings, ran some tournaments, did some clinics. But it was cool to see them embrace the sport. And like they said, they were Full Send were very fortunate to get the blessing of the CTA, which is the Chinese Tennis Association, which is essentially the Chinese government, to run pickleball in China, which is a huge deal, because once you've got the backing of the government, then it's going to grow. But if you look at their two main sports, right, which are table tennis and badminton, those have grown to pretty much they're busting at the seams.
Right.
And they're looking for a new sport, right?
So they've maxed out.
Yeah, like frisbee golf was a sport.
Oh God.
Not frisbee golf, ultimate frisbee.
I've played ultimate frisbee.
Yeah. So that was a sport that was gaining in popularity, during COVID.
Yeah.
Sorry, right before COVID. And now pickleball is this new sport that has come in, and seeing the badminton players and the table tennis players really embrace it, and they almost have a leg up on us.
Yeah, I was going to
if
say
you
that
think
the
about it.
skills translate, right?
Well, if you think about it, most of us that are playing pickleball come from tennis, or come from a one sport. In China, there you've got these 3 sport athletes. You've got your table tennis, badminton, and tennis athletes. They're 3 sports. And what is pickleball? The best of all 3 of those 3.
Yes.
So
that anyway, that's what we think.
So they're coming
tennis
in.
Players don't, but whatever. We ignore that.
But they're coming into this space with sort of a slight advantage.
Yeah.
And it was fun to see them embrace the sport. It was fun to see them get it, especially the ones that wanted to not treat it as their main sport. Like, for example, when I first started playing, I'm like, I don't have to think, I don't have to hit a third shot drop, I can blast the ball, I'm a tennis player, right? Yeah. So the ones that came in with that attitude, you could see them hit their ceiling very quickly. But the ones that came in with the attitude of like, oh, what is this about? I need to figure this out. They were growing in leaps and bounds. And it was like my mixed doubles partner in one of the tournaments in Shanghai, where I pretty much explained myself in interpretive dance, because I have very basic Mandarin. More than I have. Every match went on, you could see him get it, and he was asking questions, and he was really embracing it. And I was like, wow, this is pretty impressive. And I was like, and the badminton players, see the way they jump, just like straight up or backwards to get a ball. I'm like, what just happened?
Okay, question. This is a random sidebar, but so I've played a lot of any racket sport, and I was a decent badminton player actually. But interestingly, I used to have a backhand grip when I played badminton, which because you have to hit that ball behind you and flick in, you know what I mean? And I found that while I would have a semi-Western grip for tennis, in pickleball, I'm better. And remember, everybody, garden variety rec player here, but doing my best. But I found it better to have more of a continental or a, what we call a chopper grip, because you have no time to change whatever. And I just wondered if the badminton players translate. Did you notice any of the badminton players being better than anybody else because of the grip that they were used to that kind of grip? I don't know. I might be completely smoking.
No, because there's a way that yes and no. I mean, but when you're rolling the ball a lot, right, you've got to be able to change your grips, and they were very curious as to, oh, how'd you do that? Because I do this, and I'm like, yeah, it's the same flick, but it's just flicking over the ball versus, to the side of it, and they were just getting it, and it's like, I think we're in for a wake up call once they embrace the sport to the level, right? Because if they're in, they're all in, and I think it's going to happen at the right time, with the explosion of pickleball, pro pickleball, especially in the US, and how there's more money coming into the sports, it's more exposed, it's on TV, people have more access to viewing it, so it's gonna be an interesting next couple of years internationally.
Yeah, and it looks like you had such a good time. And on that note, there's pictures of you all over the place on the website, and you didn't just stay in one place, right? You moved around a lot. And so my next question to you really was going to be, what was the most memorable or maybe jaw-dropping? I mean, I've never been to China, and it was one of those, it's on the bucket list, but what was the most fun you had, and what was the most jaw-dropping place you visited that you went, oh, wow?
The most fun, it was everywhere was fun, right? They treated us so well. We went to 6 cities, I think. It was 7 stops, but 6 cities, because we went to one. We went to Chongqing at the beginning and the end of the trip. Okay. But it was a whirlwind trip.
Yeah, you were gone for like 3 weeks, right?
2 weeks, and it was two days in different spots, and then moving, late flight out. That was always delayed, that got us in late. Then we were being picked up at the airport and then taken to dinner at like 1 a.m. I'm like, I don't even know. I know you called me a couple of times, and I'm like, why? And you go, I don't even know what time it is. Why? Yeah, crazy. Yeah. Okay. But it was so just seeing the the difference from city to city in Chinese landscape and architecture, right? It's like it's slightly different here. I feel like in the States, every state used to be very different, and then with big box stores and chains of things, everything has become a little bit more vanilla, right? You never know that you're in a different state because the stores are the same and all this, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the way the world has gone. But in China, every city is very, very different. So that was it was, you know, there were a couple of jaw-dropping moments. Obviously, you know, I was fortunate enough to go to the Great Wall, which was, it's impressive, and they've got guards or police or very scary looking men that you don't want to make mad. But they're given stations, right? And there's stations up the wall, the whole way along the wall. But like I don't know how far up I walked. Though I was like, some of the stairs, sometimes it was actually harder coming down than going up, just to the steepness of it and the narrowness of the step. I'm like, this is, you know, I hope no one has this on video if I fall. But you'd see people coming down in their bums.
Yeah.
Right. They're just afraid of the drop. Like you're looking and you're like, oh, this is really steep. But I'm like, just look that way and like walk down, you know.
Any handles?
And very
side? No handles?
Yeah, but like it's super wide. Like you're one handling it, right? But but the stairs are, some of them are normal step height, other ones are like high knee height. You know, but you've got these stations, and let's say you're the security guard tasked with stations 8 through 10.
Yeah.
But you got to walk all the way to 8, and then you're like walking back and forth from 8 to 10 all day long.
Oh, they must be.
But you got to get your butt up there first. You know, so I'm like, I'm never gonna race any one of those guys. They'll kick my butt in a race.
They are fit as a fiddle.
Yeah. So
good future mixed doubles partners.
Right. But just fascinating on how, I mean, it took over 2,000 years to build.
Yeah.
It's insane. I'm like, I would love to have a seat at that table going, you know what? Like, we're going to build the wall way back when.
Yeah.
Like piece by piece.
How long?
And everyone's going to be like, okay, but how long is this going to take? And then thinking about it from a work standpoint, going, I'm so results oriented, and I want to see. I'm like instant gratification. I'm like, I want to see my results right away.
Yeah.
Like I can just see laying 10 bricks going, oh, nothing's happened. You know,
in my lifetime, this won't be done.
Yes. Like right. I don't like that would cripple me.
All right. Love me some Chinese food, but I know it's American Chinese food. So I need to know most favorite meal and most unusual meal. I don't want to say bad meal because, you know.
No, it was, I mean, the people I was with, right? Yuki and Yui. I say Yuki was my translator and Yui was my bodyguard because he's 6 something, you know. But he was also my translator. Every meal was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I conquered chopsticks.
Well done.
And
you didn't have to have one of those little things, you know, that little.
No. I almost took my hairband out and did one. Because everything's on a lazy Susan as it goes round. People just grab, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not eating this round. And then, you know,
did you lose weight? I
wasn't really hungry. You know,
like I'd like to have tried the food. I lost weight in China. I couldn't keep up with the thingy.
But I tell you what was super fascinating food wise.
Okay.
Breakfast in China.
Okay. Why?
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Okay.
And so Chinese people cannot fathom how boring Western breakfasts are.
We have quite a selection here.
It is quite a selection. I mean, there's from noodles to pot stickers to fried rice to everything. It's meal. It's a full meal, like what you would have on a Friday night for Chinese. That's breakfast. You know, and it's interesting that you eat all your proteins first and then you finish with carbs.
Oh.
And then, but there also desserts come out at some time. It's like nothing is, there's no traditional order that we're used to. It's very different, right? But I mean, different places we went to, the food varied in spice. You know, Szechuan is probably that was the Szechuan food that I have here in the States is not spicy compared to that. And I'm like, oh, I can do spice. They're like, no, Lee, don't do spice. I'm like, it's fine. How spicy can it be? Yeah. it's spicy.
Your eyelids are sweating. We always used to say in England, when you have a really good curry, your eyelids sweat.
Yeah, no, everything was sweating, and I was just like, and then breathing became labored, and it was just all a bit. But no, you know, and everything, right? It's like I'm very cognizant of the fact that I'm in a country that I am unfamiliar with traditions and dishes that I am not familiar with, right? And I never want to offend, so I will always participate.
Was there, I mean, I'm sure there might have been little ones, but was there an embarrassing moment, not because they weren't lovely, but because you just culturally didn't know any better? And did you put your foot in
Always.
it? What's the one that comes to mind if I say, when did you put your foot in it, mate?
I was warned about the bathrooms and all this, and it's like
No.
great, and it's different, right? It's like going the French countryside, right? It's a hole in the floor.
Yeah.
But you got to take
it away. It's actually very hygienic.
No, I'm not. That it wasn't. I didn't feel unhygienic in any way, shape, or form. Except what I felt was I probably need to do more yoga and work on my flexibility, because there's no like handicap rails to hold on to, and I'm like, this is gonna go wrong. And sadly, when I know. So I walk out there looking like I've just been dunked in a pool, and he's looking at me, I'm like, just don't ask. He's like, no, I need to. What happened? And I'm like, I fell, and he starts laughing, and I mean, of course, it's like. I was in so much pain. I'm like, I could have just broken down and cried. And I'm like, but no, it was way funny, because you look outside yourself. Like, if I would have been like, help, I've fallen and I can't get up. If I had one of those buttons, you know, I'm like, I pity the person coming in going, and you're supposed to be a pro athlete?
Yeah, exactly.
Know? What happened? But those of you that do know me know that or don't know me know that I have a very low tolerance for people, and not many people impress me. You know, or like by what they do. Let me just put it that way. Like, people impress me every day by who they are, right? And who the essence of who they truly are. And impress goes both ways. It can be positive or negative. But our guest next week, I was blown away. And you know, we tried to stick to a format in our podcast, and I think the format went out the window for our next episode, because holy moly, did I learn so much. And I was like, I could have talked to him like for days.
Yep.
And I so many questions. So do not miss.
Do not miss next week. No, do not miss. It's a doozy. It will do this. It's so good. So that's why we saved it for episode 2, because we thought we wanted to introduce, but we met with him, and we thought we'll have a chat. And we're showing it to you next week, or next episode.
I will say though, I do need to have this caveat in there, that whatever they learn from our amazing guests next week, if any one of you listening is ever on the court against me, you are not to use any of this stuff that you learned in episode 2 against me on the court.
I'm going.
I'll throw my paddle at you, mate.
Yeah, you probably will.
I'm like, sorry, slippery grip.
Even though I am using it, I'll still lose, but I'm going to give it a go, because it was some good stuff. Okay, so that's the good
amazing
next week. Okay, I'm going to try and keep us back on track and follow the format to some extent. So the one other thing you will notice that we do every week or every episode is a Dear AP section. So as you know, in most magazines, there's a Dear Abby section, and we decided, wouldn't it be fun if we had a Dear AP section where you and I can ask Lee all the questions, all your woes on a pickleball court, and she hopefully can help answer, or just make fun of you, but hopefully answer and help you with your problems. And we will be showcasing a couple of questions each week. So on that note, diving right in, I got 2 for you, mate. As it's our first episode, I thought, why not have 2 that are kind of related to the start of the game in pickleball? So when you're ready, the first one is from Joan, who's in Provo, Utah, which, by the way, isn't Utah like blowing up in pickleball world?
Oh, Utah's insane. There's like so many courts. Utah's crazy with pickleball. I love it.
Yeah. So she has said, please ask Lee this simple question. When I win the toss, should I choose to serve or receive? What are the pros and cons of both? I just don't know what to do. And, you know, I'm going to add to that a little bit. And by the way, Joan in Utah, thank you, Provo. In our league, there's an end where we all basically serve from, and or we're assigned home or away, so it's in a league. But if you're playing in the tournament, don't you toss, you do a toss, don't you, and you choose?
Well, yeah.
So in that instance, what do you do?
The short answer is just close your eyes and pick one. The longer answer is, are you playing inside? If you're playing inside, I would pick I tend to pick side because I want to end up on the side with the best visibility.
Okay.
Right. Sometimes you've got court and the court behind it, and there's a lot going on back there. So I'll tend to look at that and end up facing the wall. Because most people, funnily enough, pick serve first. And then so if the court didn't bother me, I would pick receive first because you only get one serve. So I'm going to all I've got to do is stop you from scoring, and then our team gets 2 chances at serving.
This one is again about the start of the game, and it's from Renee in Redondo Beach, and she asks, I'm about to play in my first pickleball tournament, and I noticed that the warm-up was very different from tennis, having watched you and other pros play online, presumably. And she said, what's the correct warm-up etiquette? How long? What's the format? Please help me so I don't look foolish. Thank you, Renee from Redondo Beach.
All right, so Renee from Redondo Beach. Yeah, that was one of the things that probably shocked me the most in pickleball was a warm-up. Yeah, it's very different. Like you warm up with your partner, not your opponent.
I know, crazy, but actually great. But actually, how do you find out how bad your opponent is that way?
Exactly. But so what I do is we start dinking. Like you and I'll be in the kitchen or just outside the kitchen. Dinking. I realize you're in the kitchen. I am not in the kitchen.
Oh yeah, I'm in violation in the kitchen, by the way. Lee's a professional. I don't know which side you are. So she is, you won't often see her in the kitchen because she's, she
only when I Ernie, and I am not trying not to do this because
we need a couple of episodes where you're in the kitchen. Actually,
the online community tend to roast me and tell me my Ernie's early.
I know, yeah, I've heard about that.
But what we do is you start dinking, right, and you're just basically dialing your iron, and after dinking, one of you will start to move back, work on your drops, do some drives, do some drops, work your way back in, work on your transition. Go back to dinking, then your partner goes back, does the same thing, do the same, then you do some fast hands with volleys, reflex volleys.
So you come back together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then you go back, do some serves and returns, and Bob's your uncle.
Do you do the serves and returns straight in skinny singles?
No. You just go.
So the other people will go, okay.
Yeah. And if they don't, you just, if they're here, you just get behind them and serve.
Okay. Nice.
It's a 2 to 3 minute warm. It should be done, and just take care of it really quickly.
Well, that is a wrap for episode 1 as far as questions for you. Anything else we should tell them before we say adios? And no,
I just hope that thanks for listening, and hopefully it wasn't too painful.
Yeah, no.
We just want to be your everyday. Like our goal is to feel like we're in your living room just having a chat or a drink with you.
Exactly. And I cannot emphasize enough that I have so many AP questions for Lee. But if you have got a question, go to the website. There's a section called Drop Us a Line. Stick a question in there. I'll get it. I'll tee it up. I will make sure that you get an answer from Lee at some point in these episodes. And so we're so grateful for listening. Thank you very much.
Real quick, before you sign off, they can also send us a DM on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
They can message us. They can send us a message on Instagram too, on our Absolutely Pickled Official.
Yep.
And just send in their question there, or if they want to record a video and send a video themselves, that's great too.
That's great.
Yeah, we take it all. Like, just please be clothed.
Yes. No naked pictures. We don't want to get shut down before we even
slide into our DMs that way.
Exactly.
We might slide into yours that way, but don't slide into ours. But no, yeah, just reach out to us, follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, reach out to us online, and we're just here. Listen, we're here for you.
We're here for you.
It's not me, it's for you.
She's such a giver. She's such a giver.
I know.
All right. Well, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from you.
All right then. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you next time.